Have you ever looked at a strange mushroom growing in the damp soil of a forest and wondered, who was the first person to eat that? For as long as humans have existed, we have needed to eat to survive. But the natural world is not a grocery store. It is a wild, untamed place filled with thousands of plants, roots, berries, and fungi. Some of them will give you the energy to live another day. Others will quietly stop your heart before the sun goes down. So how did they know? How did the very first humans, our ancient ancestors wandering through unknown landscapes with no books, no science, and no guides, figure out what was safe to put in their mouths and what was a deadly poison? It's a strange and terrifying thought. Every single fruit, vegetable, and grain we safely consume today was once tested by someone in the deep past. Their survival became our knowledge. Their mistakes became our warnings. To understand how they survived, we have to look back at the quiet, desperate, and incredibly intelligent ways early humans decoded the secrets of nature. Today, our relationship with food is safe and entirely disconnected from the wild. When you're hungry, you open a refrigerator or walk down the brightly lit aisle of a supermarket. Everything you see has been filtered through thousands of years of agriculture, testing, and safety regulations. You do not look at an apple and wonder if it will cause your throat to swell. You do not inspect a potato to see if it holds a hidden toxin. You just eat. But imagine being dropped into a dense, ancient forest 100,000 years ago. You are starving. The ground is covered in vibrant green leaves. The bushes are heavy with bright red and dark purple berries. It looks like a paradise of food, but it's a minefield. Nature is not naturally friendly. In fact, plants do not want to be eaten. Animals can run away or fight back with teeth and claws, but a plant is rooted to the ground. To survive, millions of plants evolved invisible chemical weapons, toxins, alkaloids, and poisons designed to paralyze, sicken, or kill anything that tries to consume them. To the ancient human eye, a deadly berry and a sweet berry looked almost exactly the same. So how did they navigate this silent, invisible war? Imagine a small tribe of early humans moving through a new valley. The season has changed, and their usual food sources are gone. They're forced to look for something new. A young hunter spots a cluster of dark, heavy berries hanging from a vine. They look perfectly ripe. They look exactly like the berries they ate in the last valley. But the tribe hesitates. They don't just grab handfuls and start eating. They know the danger. They have seen what happens when the stomach turns against itself. They have watched someone consume the wrong leaf, only to fall into a fever, shivering in the cold night, foaming at the mouth, never to wake up again. Fear was their first teacher. Fear kept them alive. The fear of the unknown made ancient humans incredibly cautious. They did not simply gamble with their lives every time they were hungry. Instead, they developed a brilliant, slow, and methodical system, and human instinct that we still carry inside us today, even if we don't realize it. The first line of defense wasn't cultural, it was biological. It was built into their bodies. Before a plant even reached their stomach, it had to pass the test of the senses. Evolution gave humans a highly specialized alarm system, our sense of taste and smell. Have you ever wondered why children naturally hate vegetables, or why bitter flavors make us physically cringe? This is not an accident. In the natural world, sweetness usually signals safe, dense calories like ripe fruit. Sourness warns of spoiling or underripe food. But bitterness? Bitterness is the universal flavor of poison. Most toxic plants contain chemical compounds called alkaloids. To the human tongue, alkaloids taste intensely, unpleasantly bitter. When an ancient human picked up an unknown leaf and placed it on their tongue, a sharp, bitter taste was an immediate biological siren, warning them to spit it out. Our bodies also evolved the emotion of disgust. Disgust is not just a feeling, it's a survival mechanism.
If a food smelled slightly wrong, or if it had touched something rotting, the brain triggered an instant wave of nausea. This mechanism prevented early humans from consuming invisible pathogens and toxins. Their own bodies were the first laboratory. But taste alone was not enough. Sometimes hunger forces you to try things anyway. When ancient humans encountered a completely new plant, anthropologists believe they used a universal step-by-step process, similar to modern survival tests. It was a slow and terrifying ritual. First, they would smell the plant. If it smelled like almonds or peaches, it might contain cyanide, a common plant defense. If it passed the smell test, they would crush a small piece and rub it on their skin, perhaps on their wrist. Then they would wait. They would wait for hours to see if the skin burned, turned red, or blistered. If the skin remained clear, they moved to the next step. They would place a tiny piece of the plant against their lips and wait again. If there was no burning or numbness, they would place a small piece on their tongue, chewing it without swallowing. If it tasted intensely bitter or soapy, they spat it out. Finally, if all these steps were safe, they would swallow just a tiny pinch. Then they would wait a full day. If they didn't get sick, the plant was declared safe. This slow, cautious method is how they mapped the edible world, one leaf and one berry at a time. It was a process of extreme patience, driven by the absolute necessity of survival. Early humans were also master observers. They paid deep attention to the world around them. They watched the animals. If they saw a bear eating a specific type of berry, or a monkey consuming a certain fruit, it was a strong clue that the food might be safe. However, this was not a perfect system. A bird can eat a berry that would easily kill a human. A deer can digest leaves that would destroy our liver. So humans had to be smarter than just copying animals. They had to invent technology. This is where early humans truly separated themselves from the rest of the animal kingdom. They didn't just avoid poison, they learned how to defeat it. They discovered that fire could change chemistry. Cooking a toxic root could break down its poisons, making it suddenly safe and nutritious. They learned to leach toxins out of food. For example, acorns are naturally packed with tannic acid, making them incredibly bitter and toxic to humans. But ancient people figured out that if you crush the acorns and run water through them for days, the water washes the poison away, leaving behind a rich, edible flour. They even ate certain types of clay alongside toxic potatoes because the clay would bind to the poison in their stomachs and carry it safely out of their bodies. They were ancient chemists, solving the puzzle of survival with water, fire, and earth. But the most powerful tool ancient humans had against poison was not their tongue or fire or observation, it was each other. When a tribe member made a mistake and ate something deadly, their death was not just a tragedy, it became a permanent piece of human knowledge, because humans had something no other animal had: complex language and storytelling. They wove the warnings into stories, myths, and taboos. An elder would point to a vibrant red flower and tell the children a terrifying story about a spirit that lives in its petals, waiting to steal their breath. The children would grow up terrified of the flower, never touching it, and passing the same story to their own children. Culture became the ultimate shield against the poisonous world. Every taboo, every dietary law, and every strange food tradition started as a hard-learned lesson in survival. They shared this knowledge across generations, whispering the secrets of the forest around campfires in the dark night. We survived because we remembered and because we told each other what to avoid. When you think about the ancient world, it's easy to imagine it as a simple place. But the truth is, early humans were brilliant, cautious, and deeply observant scientists. They survived a world that was constantly trying to poison them, using nothing but their senses, their patience, and their connection to each other. Every single vegetable on your plate, every fruit in your kitchen, and every spice in your cabinet carries the ghost of an ancient human. Someone, thousands of years ago, had to be the first to taste it. Someone had to take the risk. Someone had to feel the fear, wait in the silence of the ancient forest, and realize they were going to live. We are the descendants of the careful ones, the ones who watched, the ones who waited, and the ones who shared their stories. The next time you eat a simple meal, remember the quiet bravery of the deep past, because their survival is the only reason you are here today.